Audio check 1, 2, 3.
Audio check 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel here on a Thursday night for our BTCC here on Project Cars 2 on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. The BTCC, the biggest event here on Project Cars 2 at Motive of the week, and this is the creme de la creme. This is the one they all want to win here at Motive. What a season we had last season. We went down to the wire with 5 drivers in with a shout at taking the title, but it was this man here, John Boy, who managed to take the spoils and became a 3-time champion of the touring cars here at Motive Racing. He's driving in his well-earned #1 livery here this season, the McDonald's livery, which I like to call it. And John Boy's currently top of the pile here in his first qualifying session of the season, only by 500ths of a second though. It's quite a close leaderboard at the top. You've got Captain Harlock not too far off. We've got the former champion, 2-time champion Mike, who's now called Oni Mike, driving the number 55 this season, sat in 3rd place. Only 2/10 covering the top 3. In fact, only 4/10 covering the top 6, so it's incredibly close. You got Aussie, Albie, the Mutts Nuts, and Jay quite close there at the top of the leaderboard. But I'm going to quickly read through this season's teams for the BTCC, because we are running teams for this season. It's a new addition to the leagues here for the BTCC only. So we've got John Boy teaming up with Aussie Albie. Then we've also got Nick the Villa teaming up with the Mutts Nuts. Oh, that's not the right. That's not the Mutts Nuts. That's the Mutts Nuts. Aussie Albie there goes top of the leaderboard. Wow, incredible up there from Aussie Albie. Craig is teaming up with Charlie Goff, and then we've got Team MW, who's teaming up with the 5FS, who is making his debut here tonight here at Motive. He's been in the practice lobbies. He's actually the brother of Roll Detailer, so yeah, these two both out on the track. The 5FS making his league debut here tonight. Great to see. We've got Jay, who is teaming up with Thoris Deer. You've also got Revolt Detailer. Oh, RJL got in a bit too late. I think he might have got in a bit past the 3-minute mark there, so I don't think he's going to be able to race in the first race of the night. Revolt Detailer is teaming up with Cobb this season, but Cobb will not be here for the first round of the season as he is otherwise engaged. He's got other things to be dealing with tonight, so he will not be out on track, which is a shame, but hopefully we'll see him next Tuesday for the Clios, and obviously for making his touring cars seasonal reappearance next week, we hope. But yeah, Revolt Dieter will be teaming up with Cobb. We've got Mike, who is the former champion, the 2-time champion here of the touring car division, and he is teaming up with Captain Harlock. And these two currently quite close on the leaderboard right now. I'd say in terms of the team's championship, I'd say these two have got a very, very good chance of taking this season, because they're both top level drivers. They're both going to be scoring big points, but Aussie Albie and John Boy also. And Aussie Albie seems to have really stepped it up in this pre-season. He seems to have found a bit of pace, and can he match that with a bit of consistency this season and really become the Aussie Albie that I think I was used to seeing when I first started racing on Project Cars 2? Because Aussie Albie, when I first started racing on this game, was always a force to be reckoned with. You go into a public lobby, you'd see people at the top of the leaderboard. You'd see Aussie Albie. He was a driver you'd see at the top of that board, you know, there or thereabouts. So it'd be great to see him really getting his teeth stuck into it this season and potentially challenging at the top of the leaderboard. But yeah, he's teaming up with John Boy. But Mike and Captain, I reckon, are going to be my favourites for the team's championship this season. And then last but by no means least, you've got Ollie Marr, who will be teaming up this season with RJ Dale. And RJ Dale was disconnected. Well, he kept disconnecting during the practice or during the qualifying, so he will not be racing in his first race of the night, which is a massive shame there. But we've got John Boy currently top of the leaderboard there. He's gone 2/10 quicker than Aussie Albie, so he's extending his gap there at the head of that pack. We've got a few comments coming in here on the YouTube stream right now. Emma there saying, good luck guys, have a great season, can't wait to see what happens this season. We've got Tony Zero K says, hi, get your cups of tea and some biscuits, because it's a new season, the start of some new drama. It absolutely is. We saw some incredible action on Tuesday night for the Clio Cup. We saw some even more unbelievable action last night on ACC for the GT3 Sprint League. And we're back on Project Cars 2 here tonight for some more action in the BTCC. What is going to happen tonight? We've got many different leagues here at Motive now. We're running 5 nights a week now. We're running obviously the Clio Cup on Tuesdays on Project Cars 2. We've got the ACC Sprint League on ACC. On Wednesdays, we've got the BTCC here on Project Cars 2 again on Thursdays, F1 on the F1 game on Friday, and we've also got the main GT3 Championship on ACC, the main event of the week here at Motive on Sunday nights, which is 2 tiers. We've got lots and lots of drivers signed up for that. I think 40 plus for this season and counting. We do need a few more to fill up the tiers, but yeah, lots to get involved with if you're a sim racer on the PlayStation 5 or the PS4. If you're on Project Cars 2, definitely head over to www.motiveracing.com and get your places on the grid for this season, because even though we are halfway through the first week, there is still a chance to sign up because there are still spaces in some of the leagues. So, you know, what harm is it going to do to try? You know, ultimately the worst thing that can happen if you try is you fail, but you know, nothing really to lose, so why not go for it? But we've got Ollie Mike here coming out at the last corner up towards the line. Can he find 300ths of a second here? Only there's 300ths of a second separating the top 3, so it's so close in this qualifying session. He comes over the line and he doesn't improve, stays in P3. What about Captain Harlock? He can't improve either, so he stays in second place. So John Boy taking pole for the first race of the season ahead of Captain Harlock in second. Ollie Mike and Ozzy Albie completing the front 2 rows here at Snetterton for the first race of the Touring Car Championship. But John Boy picking up where he left off, obviously took last season's title in season 13 and beginning season 14 in the perfect fashion. John Boy, Captain Harlock, Ollie Mike and Ozzy Albie your top 4, with the Mutsnuts and Jay on the 3rd row. Then you got Ollie Marr in 7th ahead of Nick the Villa, followed by Craig and Team MW. Then you got Revolt Detailer ahead of Doris Deer, followed by Charlie Goff and the 5Fs at the back in 14th place. Obviously a shame that RJ Dale disconnected there. Oh, we've lost another driver here. We're down to 13. That's 2 missing. I don't know what's happened here. Oh, it's the 5Fs. Oh, I know what's happened. Rookie error there. He's pressed. He's had the red button on the screen and he's gone and pressed it. Yeah, we've all done that. We've all been there when we started out on Project Cars 2. It's a bit of a booby trap, that one, I've got to say. Oh, what a shame. Anyway, we got John Boy lining up on pole position here for the first race of the night. Captain Harlock alongside him. You've got Mike there ahead of Ozzy Albie. So in terms of the team's championship, it's looking good for both John Boy and Ozzy and Captain and Mike. They're locked out the front 2 rows, these 2 teams. You've got John Boy and Ozzy split by the 2 Mild 7 liveries, the Imochi liveries. RJ Dale, they're just posting in the group chat there that his PlayStation was doing an update and he'll be back in for race 2, which is good to hear. And obviously the 5Fs would have learned from his mistakes and he will not be pressing that red button again in between sessions, I'm sure about that. But it'll be a standing start here to get things underway at Snetterton. The only standing start that we'll have in the first race of the night all season. All the rest of them will be a formation lap when we'll get into order based on the reverse standings from the championship standings. That'll be how the first race always goes down for the Clio Cup and the BTCC here at Motive on Project Cars 2. It's the only time in a whole season when the first race that kicks off the night will have a standing start. But here we go, we're going to have the lights coming on in a few moments time. Here we go, we are about to go racing here for another season on the BTCC here at Motive, season 14, and it's lights out and away we go. And John Boy gets a good start, covers off Captain Harlock. Mike's got a better bite around the outside and he's looking to the outside of Captain Harlock coming into turn 1 as they're side by side, and Mike Gaving seems to have got around his teammate there. It's their contact between the 2 of them. No, they get through it very nicely there. Mike up into second place. Ozzy Albie's got a load of cars behind him. The Mutt's not sticking to the outside. Jay looking up the inside here, but nowhere to go, and Jake tags him in the back, and all there's contact there. Mike and Captain Harlock and Mike there coming together as well. The 2 teammates involved in a collision. Jay up into second place, Ollie up into 3rd. Mutsnuts and Nick Devon right behind Ollie Marr at the moment, with Craig and Charlie there behind them. Captain Harlock down to 8th place. Team MW there in 9th ahead of Revolt Detailer. Doris doing 11th, and Ozzy Albie and Mike at the back. So They've had an absolute horror show here at the start of this race. It's John Boy leading, and he's already got nearly a 2-second gap as the Mustangs there, bit side there, coming the exit of Nelson, and Ollie Martin looking to the inside, coming through this next right-hander. Ollie should be able to make that move there up into third place. He's done that one beautifully there. But the Mustangs having a bit of a moment. You can see in the background here Captain Harlock trying to attack on the back of Charlie as they're coming through the bomb hole here for the first time, and Charlie goes wide onto the grass. He'll be wise to cut the corner there and try and cut his losses here in the foreground. Ollie there getting it all wrong on the exit of the final corner, and he's going to be overtaken here by the Mustangs and Nick de Villa, and Craig might be able to get him as well here coming down the start finish straight. There's a bit of contact there between Ollie and Craig. But drama here on the first lap of the race as the Mustangs here has got Nick on the back of him. Nick tags his teammate in the rear. Oh, teammates seem to be hitting each other left, right, centre. Oh no! And somebody's gone off there as Captain Harlock is round at turn 1, and Team MW also involved in that one as well. I saw Craig was involved in an incident there going into turn 1. It's absolute chaos here in the first few laps of the race. Charlie Goff is off onto the grass. Who's that in the foreground? Doris Deer having a bit of a ding-dong there with Ozzy Albie. Ozzy Albie's round and he's facing the wrong way. Oh, after such a good qualifying session, his teammate out and away at the front. Ozzy Albie's retired from the race here on only lap 2 of the race. What is he doing? So Ozzy Albie out of the race here in the early stages. The Mustangs there going very wide out of Nelson. You got Ollie Marr, who's got Nick de Villa and Mike on the back of him right now. Mike, after a turbulent first lap, is back up into 6th place with everything going off in front of him. Revolt Detail there in 7th, there of Doris Deer, followed by Charlie Goff. You've got Captain Harlock out of Craig. Team MW there running in 12th place. We're down to 12 riders. We had 15 drivers in the qualifying session. We're down to 12. It's been an absolute nightmare of a start to this race, with one driver not readying up, one having an update, and one driver retiring from the race in the very early stages, as we've got Mike here who's got Nick de Villa looking to his outside. In fact, Mike has done the move actually on Nick de Villa coming into turn 1 and should have that one done. He has the inside line, beautifully done there from Mike up into 5th place. As in the foreground there, Ollie Mark going very wide coming out of turn 1, but keeps it on the road for the time being. It's a booby trap button changing session, says Tony's okay. Oh yeah, it is, absolutely. But it's currently John Boy out the front by 1.5 seconds. There's Jay. You got the Mustangs running in 3rd place right now. Ollie in 4th ahead of Mike, who's bearing down on him. We saw these two having a bit of a scrap on Tuesday night in the touring in the Clios, and once again these two running on the same stretch of tarmac. They got Nick de Villa just behind them. You got Revolt Detailer way back off these guys there, running in 7th place. Doris Deer in 8th as Captain Harlock has got Craig looking to his outside, coming down towards Brundle. And Craig would be brave to go for a move there, and he's not going to do so. He tucks in for the time being. Captain Harlock holding on to 9th place as Charlie Goff trying to attack on the back of Craig, but can't get a run. These two teammates running in 10th, 11th places right now. But Craig trying to get back onto the rear end of Captain Harlock if he can. Captain Harlock with a little bit of damage, which is probably costing him a little bit of performance at this point. Totally Zero K says, wow, this is the most cleanest I've ever heard someone. This is the most clearest I've ever heard someone talk fast. I don't know about that, but we can see there that Craig's going to move through ahead of Captain Harlock. Captain Harlock with a little bit of a mistake there coming out the last corner, and Craig there moves through up into 9th place. Charlie Goff into the pits here at the end of lap 3. Team MW moves through up into 11th place. The gap at the front between John Boy and Jay just under 2 seconds, so Jay keeping John Boy honest at the moment, but John Boy does seem to have the pace. He was 3/10 quicker than Jay on that previous lap, and he's continuing to bring out the gap, but Jay's not letting John Boy off the hook. He's keeping him in sight, and one mistake from John Boy and Jay will be there to capitalise. So certainly Jay is as I said, he's keeping John Boy on his toes at this point. As we can see, Doris Deer's got a bit of a run here on Revolt Detailer coming down towards the end of the Bentley straight. Is he going to make the move here into Brundle? You can see these two side by side as Revolt Detailer goes later on the brakes and keeps it around the outside there. Doris Deer can't go for a cutback in the background there. Captain Harlock, did he give Craig a bit of a tap there? Craig getting it wrong on the exit of Nelson. Captain Harlock did not need a second invitation there. Moves down the inside through the right hander and he's up into 9th place there as Captain Harlock on his personal best, but obviously with big damage on the car could be vulnerable to another attack here, a counter here from Craig. As in the meantime we've got Mike, who's still on the back of the Mustangs. He's got ahead of Ollie up into 4th place. Ollie's dropped off at the back of Mike a little bit, so he's had a bit of a scruffy lap that time around. 7/10 slower than Mike, but Mike now closing up onto the back of the Mustangs for the final podium spot. John Boy continuing to pull away from Jay here, 7/10 quicker on the previous lap, so John Boy certainly asserting his dominance here tonight at Snetterton so far here anyway. Doris Deer still on the back of Revolt Detailer. Captain Harlock just ahead of Craig as these guys battle it out over 9th and 10th places right now. The drama is real, says Tony's okay. Absolutely it is. But John Boy here with a 2.5 second lead right now over Jay. Can Jay start to roll the gap down a little bit? Can he just find a few tenths of a second to lap and start? If he can get in sort of the low 111s, maybe the 110s, he might be able to put John Boy under some pressure here. I think John Boy's had a scruffy lap as well, because the gap's come down to pretty much 2 seconds here. It was a bit more than that. Oh, John Boy very wide there out of the last corner. I'll tell you what, did not get that turned in the way he would have wanted to. But the gap just about bang on 2 seconds at this point between these two. Let's see what John Boy's last lap was. I reckon that's going to be a 112. Yeah, 112.1 there from John Boy. 111.7 there from Jay. So Jay doing consistent lap times, and John Boy there was well off of his personal best that last time around. But the gap just creeping under 2 seconds between the two leaders. But Mutsnuts has got Mike looking to try and make a move on him here, coming down towards turn 2. Mutsnuts here parks it in the middle of the trackers. Here we go, Mike looking to the inside. And oh, he's got to check to the grass there, because the Mutsnuts defending his line, doing a good job parking his car in the right places. But he goes a bit wide there, and Mike Game is going to surely get the cut back here down the Bentley straight. They're going to be side by side. It's going to be all about who's got the lower downforce set up here. As you can see, Mike just edging ahead, but the Mutsnuts is now picking up a bit of steam here, and is starting to come back at Mike, as he's got that straight line speed advantage there over Mike, coming down towards Brundle. Mike has the inside though, that goes a little bit later on the brakes, and gets the move done there up into the final podium place. As he cuts the curve a little bit, but the Mutsnuts gets it even worse than Mike did in the background. Ollie there going a bit wide, but it's got Nick on the back of him trying to put the pressure on him. But Ollie Mike there up into third place, into the podium places. Our two-time champion of this touring car division here at Motive. Obviously a former champion with the reigning champion and 3-time champ John Boy out the front. Has got a 2.6 second lead right now over our season 10 one-time champion Jay. But yeah, an interesting first 2 laps to this race, I've got to say. And Nick Villa still at the back of Ollie Mars, still trying to put the pressure on him for 5th place here in this one. Emma there in the comments saying Aussie retired due to damage. Oh, fair enough, fair enough. We'll let him off for that one. But Captain Harlock nonetheless looking down the inside of Revolt Detail here, coming into turn 1, and he's going to get that one done there once again. These two have been trading places a little bit. Although Revolt Detail, sorry, no, actually, no, hold on, no, he hasn't. No, they haven't. That's actually the first move the captain's made on Revolt Detailer. He was battling with Craig earlier on, but Craig must have made a mistake. He's now 5 seconds behind this pair. But Captain Harlock there up into some clean air, up into 7th place, so continue to make gains after having a bit of damage earlier on. Doris Steer trying to reel these guys in there, running in 9th place at the moment. Ollie and Nick still fighting it out over P5 at this point as they're coming out of Nelson. Through in towards the bomb hole they go. As Nick just having little looks here on the back of Ollie as they're coming through this final section of the lap. Can Nick get a good run here? He'll be looking to try and get a bit of a cut back here coming out of the final corner. If he can, he might be able to have a run coming into turn 1, but Ollie just holding on. He's got enough of a cushion at the moment to be secure. Captain and Revolt Detail are still running very close here as they're coming out onto the start finish straight. As Revolt Detail is kicking up a little bit of grass there on the back of Captain Harlock. Captain with big damage on the rear end of his car as well, which is going to be affecting his performance enormously at this point. So Mike's now pulled out the gap to Mutsnuts. You can see well over a second now between those two. So obviously, since Mike made that move, he's managed to put daylight between himself and Mutz. As we can see there, Nick wide onto the grass there. Ollie's going to seize on that and move up into P5 on the exit of Nelson. Nicely done there, Ollie, taking his opportunity there whilst it was there. P5 for him. Nick's still going to pressure him though, you can be sure of that. It's right on board with Nick the Villa. Let's see what he's seeing as they're coming in towards the final corner. Ollie there parking it on the inside. That will compromise his run a little bit, and he goes on wide onto the grass. Just tacked the curve ever so slightly coming out of Murray's. Here we go then. Nick the Villa in the slipstream. He's pulled out the slipstream already here, coming down the start finish straight. As here we go. Nick the Villa around the outside. Ollie trying to rub doors with him a little bit, trying to slow him down. But Nick the Villa, I think, is going to just cut him off a little bit here coming into turn 1. And Ollie tucks in, and Nick the Villa gets that one done there up into 5th place. He goes a little bit wide on the exit of turn 1, but he gets it stopped, or gets it turned in, should I say. And Nick the Villa moves through back up into P5, and these two swapping positions left, right, and centre at the moment in this fight for 5th place. These two well off of the back of the Mutsnuts. Mutsnuts has dropped off of the back of Mike a bit. Mike not really making any gains on Jay at this point. I'll tell you what, Jay gained half a second on John Boy on the last lap. So John Boy, he's got pace around Snetterton. in a touring cars. But the one thing that's letting him down a little bit is consistency. He seems to be suffering with a little bit of lack of consistency. He seems to have the odd patchy lap here and there, and that's giving Jay the chance to just reel him in at stages and sneak back within that 2-second gap. As I say that, Jay goes horribly wide there coming out of the last corner. I think this has been a better lap from John Boy so far. It's back in the 111s, I'm sure. Yeah, 111.7 there from John Boy. 112 dead there from Jay. So John Boy pulled away by 0.3 of a second on that last lap. Ebbing and flowing between these two, but gap 2.5 seconds at this stage as we're just over halfway through the first race of the night. Ollie's still got Nick pressuring him as they're coming down towards turn 1 once again. But Nick too far back at the moment to make anything happen just there. Let's go back to the battle here between Nick and Ollie, as we can see Ollie in that slipstream coming down the Bentley straight. Is he going to look to try and make a move here coming into Brundle? He's too far back realistically. Ollie Marr, we know he likes a car that's set up for straight line speed. Oh, Nick there goes wide, goes deep. He gets it all horribly wrong there. All sorts of sideways there from him. Ollie Marr up into P5. This is the same part of the track where Ollie got ahead of him on the previous lap though, and then Ollie proceeded to bin it coming through the final corner. So let's see if Ollie can get it right this time as he gets a very strangely wide entry there going into the bomb hole. Here we come then into the final corner. What sort of exit's Ollie going to get here? He goes wide onto the grass there, doesn't he? Really wide again. He's struggling through that final corner. Nick Lavilla struggling through Nelson, but Ollie struggling through Murray's, and that's giving Nick a chance here down the start-finish straight. Here goes Nick Lavilla once again. He's going to look to try and 7 up the inside coming in towards Richie's. No, he's not going to make that move just at the moment. Through they come into Montreal once again, and Nick just too far away. Has to wait for his opportunities. Still here in this one. Gap at the front between John Boy and Jay's just extended a little bit. It's John Boy gained nearly half a second on Jay on that last lap, so he's continuing to exert his authority here. He's close to his personal best on this time around as well as John Boy, so he's flying on this particular lap. Mike's gap to the Mutsnuts is now nearly 4 seconds, but Mutsnuts is well clear of this battle between Ollie and Nick for P5. As we can see Raki in the comments there say, good evening all, well, welcome Raki, good to see you as always. Raki did race with us actually last night on ACC in the GT3 Sprint League, and he had a bit of a difficult race. He got some damage on the first lap, which meant it was an uphill battle, but still managed to get ahead of a couple of drivers with a few incidents going on for others. He managed to gain a few positions. I think he gained P14 in the end in race 2 last night, so he did a decent job. But yeah, good to see Raki in the comments as always. Former steward and also coordinate, well, sort of like a co-coordinator in a way in the F1 league. So yeah, he's a big fan here at Motive. Regularly chimes in and supports us here on the streams, and loves a good bit of sim racing to tuck his teeth into. He races a lot as well. He's on PC nowadays on ACC, but yeah, great to see you, Raki. Hope you're well, mate. As we got Ollie still with Nick Lavilla pressure in the back of him. Raki down in the comments says, good to see these die-hard and hardcore PC2 racers. Yeah, you know, I think as long as the servers are still open, I don't think we're going to be packing it in. It's going to take the servers to be shut down, I think, for us to stop running, because we all love a bit of Project Cars too, myself included. This is where sim racing really began for me. It's where Motive began. It was the birth of Motive, and honestly I don't think it would have been possible to have created Motive without Project Cars 2, because the social element of Project Cars 2 is so much more prevalent than what it is on ACC. Just the game chat audio is so much better, it's more interactive, there's much more of a community sort of feeling on the game, and that's no slight on ACC, because I think it's a great game. ACC is fantastic for an authentic sim racing experience, but I think it wouldn't have taken off in the same way as it has done on Project Cars 2. So Project Cars 2 really was and still is the heart and soul, the beating heart of Motive. But we can still see here that Ollie Marr and Nick Lavilla running very close. As Nick Lavilla here looking to the outside here, coming down the Bentley straight. Is he going to be able to make a move coming into Brundle. You can see there he's got the run and he's going to breeze past him here, but Ollie's still on the inside. He's still going to be there. Ollie goes really late on the brakes. Does he get stopped in time for Brundle? He just about does, but he's going to be out of sync here for Nelson. Nick might be able to try and counter him. No, Ollie gets it done there, back up into P5. So great driving there from Ollie Marr, holding on to that position by the skin of his teeth for the time being. Raki says it'll be weird when this comes to an end. Maybe servers will be here for a long time because the PC series ends. I don't know. It's difficult to know. I don't know if the PC servers are they shutting down on Project Cars 2? Is that what you're saying? Because I haven't heard anything. In the meantime, Nick Villa there breezing past Ollie Marr. Ollie Marr once again, as we've seen so many times, he doesn't like Murray's at all. And Nick Villa always comes past him. Nick struggling through Nelson, Ollie Marr struggling through Murray's, and these two just keep swapping positions every single lap. It's the same old story between these two. But 7 of you currently watching the stream, if you're enjoying what you're watching and you want to show your appreciation for these guys out on track, then please do smash the like button and subscribe to the Motive Racing channel as well. If you want to get involved, go to www.motiveracing.com. As we got Ollie Marr looking to the inside here, you can see he's got a bit of a run on Nick Villa. And once again looking to try and return a favour. Down the inside he goes, late on the brakes. He gets it stopped beautifully again though. Ollie, I tell you what, I'm noticing this, and this is something that I think maybe earlier back in the day when I wasn't as much of an experienced commentator, I wouldn't have picked up on this. But what I'm noticing now that I haven't so much noticed before is Ollie Marr is very good on the brakes. He's very good at braking late and getting it stopped and keeping the car stable. He's got good reflexes, I think. He's good at counter steering and making sure that when the car sort of gets loose, he's good at controlling it, and that's why he's able to run on such low downforce settings, and that's why he's got such a quick car in a straight line, but he's able to navigate it through the corners to an effective manner. And I'm seeing this time and time again. This is something, I think a couple of years ago I wouldn't have been able to explain that it's just the way it goes. I think it's just people blossom, people bloom, and I'm a late bloomer. But Nick there almost running into the back of Ollie going into turn 2, but nothing doing it. Coming down the Bentley straight, I tell you what, he might have a bit of a run here though. A couple of weeks ago I read there will be no new PC titles. Yeah, there's definitely not going to be any new Project Cars 2 titles, but I know that the maker or the founder of Project Cars 2, or the founder of Slightly Mad Studios, I think, is looking to try and make a new game with a new company. Oh, Ollie whacks the curb there, coming through Nelson, but gets away with it because Nick Villa went wide onto the grass and got a horrible run himself. I tell you what though, these two have got the damaged Captain Harlock chasing them down, so they could be vulnerable here if they don't get their act together and start picking up the pace a little bit. Captain Harlock could be there to pick them off here. He's been reeling them in despite the damage on the front and rear of his car, which is undoubtedly going to be costing him performance, but despite that he's been reeling these guys in by quite a bit. In the meantime, we've got John Boy still leading the race by just under 4 seconds ahead of Jay. Jay's a further 4 seconds clear of Mike, so I think the top 3 are pretty much set in stone here for the opening round of the season. But it's going to be down to who's going to take P5 here. Is it going to be Ollie, Nick, or maybe Captain Harlock might be able to be a bit of a party pooper for these two. Speaking of party poopers, Park Pooper Rex, unfortunately not here tonight. Those of you who are fans of Park Pooper, unfortunately he's retired from Motive on Project Cars 2 for the foreseeable future, which is a shame obviously, because he's been a regular in the leagues for the last 4 seasons, but Park Pooper Rex has left the leagues for now. But in the meantime, Nick Villa here looking to the inside of Ollie coming into Brundle, and he's going to make that move, I think. Yes, he does, up into P5. So Nick Villa moves himself back up into the 5th place there, but Ollie's going to try and come back at him. This is the part of the track where Ollie struggles though, so Nick, I think, should be able to hold on through this section of the track, and it's going to be about whether Ollie can mount an attack here on the final lap of the race, or I think it's going to be the final lap anyway, it should be. Yeah, John Boy's coming through turn 2. So their next lap will be the last lap, as Nick Villa a bit wide coming through Murray's, and Ollie there tagging the curve a little bit, and that's going to give Captain Harlock a little bit of an opportunity here coming down the start-finish straight. Captain Harlock with his front bumper hanging off though, and that is going to be costing him a bit, as here he goes looking to the inside here. 2/10 quicker was it on his personal best on that last time round was Captain Harlock, lapping in the low 1:12 despite his damage on the car. What a fantastic effort from him it's been in this first race of the season, as we can see him looking to the outside. Ollie defending the inside coming through turn 2. Ollie staying ahead in P6 right now. This is giving Nick Villa a chance to just pull away from these guys though. But in the meantime, let's go to our race leader, John Boy, because he's about to put a lap on Charlie Goff. If it was a couple more laps, he might have done, as he's battling with Team MW. But John Boy up towards the line. He's going to take race 1. It's first blood to our 3-time champion and reigning champion, John Boy, driving in the number 1 here tonight in the McDonald's delivery. It's John Boy taking the win, ahead of Jay, our season 10 champion, who comes over to take 2nd place. Michael come over to take 3rd. So the last 3 champions in the touring car division here at Motive taking the top 3 spots here in this season opener. So it's looking like it's going to be the battle between the 3 champions for this season. What a season we've got in store for us. Mutsnuts there taking 4th. And Nick Levilla's going to come out of the last corner. It's going to be a P5 for him as he's coming up towards the line. Ollie and Captain just behind him, but Nick Levilla over to take 5th place here in the season opener, ahead of Ollie, who takes 6th place. Captain Harlock over in 7th, and these guys are well clear of Revolt Detailer and Craig, who are just coming out of the last corner. Revolt Detailer a little way clear of Craig as he comes up towards the line. So Revolt Detailer takes 8th, Craig over in 9th place. Doris Steer comes over to take P10, and he's a little way clear of Charlie Goff, who's going to, I think, hold on here from Team MW. So Charlie Goff will take P11 in the end, and he finishes just ahead of Team MW. He'll be the last driver to finish there in P12. And that is that for race 1 of the night here, guys. Stay tuned, because we'll be back very, very shortly for the second race, which will be another qualifying session followed by the race itself. John Boy, Jay and Mike, your podium finishers. Fastest lap goes to John Boy, so he takes the clean sweep there, pole position, fastest lap, and the race victory here for race 1 in dominant form so far as our reigning champion. And who can stop him here in the rest of tonight? We'll find out over the course of the next 2 races, guys. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the second qualifying session of the night here at Motive for the Touring Car Championship, the BTCC Season 14 here on Project Cars 2. We had a very exciting start to the season. We saw John Boy taking the race victory, obviously the three-time champion, last season's champion as well, driving in the number one this season, getting his season started in the perfect way. The former champion, two-time champion Mike Gaming came third behind the former champion, also Jay, season 10 champion. So you've got Jay, who's the season 10 champion. You've got John Boy, who's the season, I think I'm right here when I say the season 5, 7 and 13 champion. You've got Jay, who's the season 10 champion, and you've got Mike, who is the season 11 and 12 champion. So yeah, basically these guys, between the three of them, have got 6 championships here in a touring car division, so they all know what it takes, and it's awesome to have three drivers who share 6 titles in this league, all driving on the same track. But John Boy currently sat atop of the leaderboard here by just over a tenth of a second ahead of Mike, who's just finished the lap, but it wasn't good enough to go on pole. Jay sat in third. You've got Captain Harlock running in fourth at the moment on this leaderboard, but he's got a bit of traffic here in front of him. That's actually John Boy's teammate Ozzy there ahead of him, who seems to be on a lap of his own, so under no obligation obviously to move over. Ollie though in 5th place, doing a decent job here in this qualifying session, and the top 5 separated by 3 tenths, and there's a bit of a gap back to Ozzy, Team MW, Nick Lavilla, who all seem quite close in 6th, 7th and 8th, and then a bit more of a gap back to the Mutts Nuts and Revolt Detailer and Charlie Goff, and Craig there a few tenths off of them. Thorist still yet to do a lap in anger, I reckon, here in this one. RJ Dale and the Mutts Nuts, sorry, the 5Fs. I need to get used to calling them the 5Fs, because when I look at a name, I just read out what's in front of me without even thinking, and then obviously I know what the 5Fs are, everybody knows, but you know, it's taking some getting used to kind of like look at the name and that for it to come out, if that makes sense. It will come. But John Boy there doing a faster lap, a 110.8 here, right at the end of the qualifying session, rubbing salt in the wounds, and Mike's given up by the looks of it. He's weaving around as he gets to the line, so he's thought, no chance am I going to beat that. And John Boy there taking pole position here for this second race of the night. So that's 2 poles from 2 so far, and can he follow that up with another win? We did see another driver taking a perfect start to the season. Mike did actually take all 3 wins on Tuesday night in the Clios, so can John will do the same thing in the touring cars. It's a bit like John Boy. Well, it's confusing because I'm going to use like a tennis reference here. Some people might know. So basically, it's like John Boy is like Roger Federer in the touring cars, loves Wimbledon, and you've got Rafael Nadal, and Mike's like Rafael Nadal. Loves the Clios, so they both got their strong suits. John Boy obviously is massively quick in his touring cars. Mike is very, very quick in the Clio Cup cars, but they're both very quick in both categories, and they can beat each other on their day. They can both beat each other in their not so good category, if that makes sense. But these 2 big rivals, and they're on the top 2 in this session anyway. Jay there in third ahead of Captain Harlock, but we're getting set for the second race of the night here, guys, so let's jump into it. We've got GGJ in the comments there saying hello, welcome GGJ. Great to see you in the comments here tonight, mate. Races with us. He's the championship leader actually in our F1 league on a Friday night, and has been tuning in actually regularly this week. He's been on the comments yesterday night for the GT3 Sprint League on ACC. He's back in the comments here tonight for the BTCC here on Project Cars 2, and yeah, regularly chimes in over the course of the week. Usually checks out the streams for the GT3 Championship on a Sunday as well. And GGJ, we found out a bit of a revelation last night, sorry, which I'm not going to go into here unless he decides to bring it up, but yeah, I don't know why, I just can't get it out of my head now when I see your name. Anyway, so here we are then on the grid, getting ready to go for race 2 of season 14 here for the BTCC at Motive Racing. John Boy lining up on pole with Mike alongside him. Can Mike get a jump? Who's going to get the better start here of all of these drivers? The lights coming on at the head of the grid, and it's lights out and away we go, and Mike gets an absolute flyer. John Boy quite a sleepy start. Jay with an even quicker start than both of them here, as we're going to be 3 wide here coming down towards turn 1. Mike on the inside, Jay trying to get it around the outside here of John Boy, and he's done that one there as Jay. So Jay's up into second place. Mike Gaming holding the inside line. Jay here looking to the outside of Mike, coming down towards turn 2. Here we are. What is going to go on between these guys? John Boy looking back down the inside but can't do anything there. Jay gives Mike a bit of a tap on the outside. John Boy over the curve a little bit but keeping it well out of the way. Jay moves straight up into second place there ahead of John Boy. You've got Ollie there side by side with Captain Harlock as we're coming down the Bentley straight, as Ollie's got a bit of a run here on the back of Jay but nowhere to go. Jay covers off any potential pursuit there from Ollie Marr, and is still in second place at the moment. He's got the inside. Ollie looking to the inside in towards Brundle, but thinks better at that one and tucks in for the time being. Jay pushes John Boy out a little bit wide. John Boy cuts the grass there as Jay's going to lose out to Ollie. Jay didn't get a good run there coming through Nelson, and Ollie moves straight up into second place with John Boy also going off, and John Boy there all over the place, almost going wide there, just keeping it on the track. Captain Harlock moves through ahead of Jay. Jay down to P5. Captain Harlock also getting ahead of John Boy here, going through the bomb hole. So Captain Harlock moves through up into third, but he's still side by side with John Boy. John Boy looking back down the inside into Murray's and moves through back up into that third place at the moment. But Captain Harlock here has got a better run coming down onto the start finish straight, as these guys are going to be side by side here, coming over the line here to complete lap 1 of the race. As Jay here is going to be outpaced by Ozzy Albie down the start finish straight, and Ozzy's going to get a run here on his teammate, but he's got nowhere to go and tucks in for the time being. But John Boy there. Oh, John Boy's wide onto the grass. He's gone off and he's hits the advertising boardings there. He's ever so wide and he's going to drop way down the pack. He's down in 10th place, 11th place there for John Boy, as Jay loses out to Captain Harlock. Captain Harlock up into third place, and there's contact there in the background. Somebody was off. Who's that? RJ Dale, I think, went off. And somebody's round. That's Charlie Goff who's round and down to the back of the pack. So Charlie Goff has an absolute horror show there. John Boy there down in 12th place is being out-dragged by Doris Deer down the Bentley straight. We've got 3 wide here, as you've got RJ Dale looking around the outside here of Craig, and we've also got Revolt Detailer in the thick of it as well, as I've just accidentally elbowed my phone off of the desk onto the floor. But currently Craig trying to keep it around the outside of Revolt Detailer coming through the bomb hole here, and here is RJ Dale trying to attack on the back of Craig here, coming through the final few corners of the lap. In the meantime though, it's Mike leading the race by a second and a half, so it's not gone to plan at all for John Boy here in his second race of the night. Ollie there running in second. You've got Jay running in third place, 3 seconds off for the lead. There's Captain Harlock ahead of Ozzy, followed by the Mutt Snuts, who's got Nick on the back of him. There's Team MW ahead of Revolt Detailer, who's got Craig, RJ Dale and John Boy in hot pursuit, as John Boy looking to the inside here of RJ Dale, coming down towards turn 1. And is he going to get this one done? I think he is. There we go. That's Craig up position. Sorry, that's John Boy up position there, ahead of RJ Dale, up into 11th place. Now looking on the back of Craig here, coming down towards turn 2. Goes to duck inside there, but thinks better of it. He's not going to make the move from that far back. Craig a little bit wide coming through turn 2, but John Boy can't get it done. Craig though onto the grass a little bit, and John Boy gets a much better runner coming out onto the Bentley straight and moves through up into 10th place there. So John Boy gaining 2 places on this lap so far. RJ Dale's just ahead of Doris Deer at the moment, as Charlie Goff is into the pits here at the end of lap 2 with damage on his car, and he has had an absolute horror show of a start to this second race of the night. Oh no, I'm living in Andy's head, says GGJ. But don't worry, I won't bring it up today, says GGJ. Oh, okay, right, never mind then. That's fine. But Mike's still out the front by just over 2 seconds here ahead of Ollie. You've got Captain Harlock there running just ahead of Ozzy. There's Jay, followed by the Mutt Snuts and Nick the Villa. Team MW coming through your shot there in 8th place. There's John Boy ahead of Revolt Detailer, as in the foreground there. That was John Boy there rattling over the sausage curve a little bit coming out of the last corner. But these guys in a bit of a train right now, as Revolt Detailer's just about far enough ahead of Craig. I think Craig's got a bit of a slipstream here coming down towards turn 1, but he's not going to get there in time, and he's going to have to wait for his opportunity here. Ollie was very wide there coming through turn 2, but he's far enough ahead of Captain Ozzy and Jay to be out of a threat there. But this is a battle for second place here. This train of cars, which is going all the way down to the Mutt Snuts, who's running in P6. They're not too far ahead of Nick either, so Nick's definitely there, ready to capitalise if anything goes on. But I tell you one man who's got away scot-free in this race, that's Mike Gaming, or Ollie Mike as he's known now, because he is currently 4 seconds up the road from this battle for P2, and looking like he's definitely got this race in the bag at the moment, as Ollie's trying his best to defend here from Captain Harlock, who's looking pretty racy here as he comes through the bomb hole. Captain potentially could be a driver who might have the pace to try and chase Mike down. But you think you need to get ahead of Ollie first. Ollie's a driver who you know could probably match Mike, but would he be able to gain on him at this point? That's a whole different ball game. But Ollie here stood ahead of Captain Harlock coming down the start-finish straight. You can see him defending the inside line. Captain Harlock's going to cut back to the inside there. Going to throw a little dummy here on Ollie. He's not going to make that move. Surely not. Oh, he's going to go for it here. And Captain Harlock's got the grip there on the inside. As we can see in the background there, that's Jay sideways. Oh, and Jay's going to get... Oh, no! Careful when he just gets it out of the way of Nick Lavilla. Nick Lavilla, though, has to take evasive action, and he's onto the grass. And Nick Lavilla probably was frightened for his life there. But Jay there is losing out to Team MW, but he actually stays ahead of him there on the exit of the corner. John Boy gets ahead of Team MW coming out onto the Bentley straight. Up another position there, John Boy up into 7th place. As Ollie there down the inside of Captain coming through Brundle and into Nelson. Captain's still ahead of Aussie Albie right now. So there's the Mutts Nuts. Jay there in the background there ahead of John Boy and Team MW at this point. As Jay, big of a slide there. Oh, as Team MW loses it coming through Nelson. And he's down to P10. He's going to lose more places, I think. No, he gets it back on the track in time before RJ Dale and Nick come on the scene. And RJ Dale wide onto the grass there. Still ahead of Nick Lavilla at the moment. But absolute chaos here in the first few laps of this second race of the night. As Ollie here is looking to try and make a move here on Aussie Albie. Aussie Albie's around the outside. You can see Ollie trying to get back ahead of him here coming into turn 1. And surely he's going to get that one done. No, Aussie later on the brakes there into turn 1. And actually gets back ahead of Ollie Marr. But Captain Harlock up into P2, 4.5 seconds off for the leader Mike. Can he now try and chase him down? Or is Mike too far ahead here? Has he got this one signed and sealed? The Mutts Nuts playing PC2. Didn't expect to see him here. Yeah, Mutts Nuts started on PC2. He plays both. He's one of the few drivers who races on 2 different titles here at Motive. I can't think of anyone who plays PC2 and ACC, but I can think of a couple who play F1 and PC2. I can think of a couple who also play ACC and F1. As Aussie there trying to make the move there on Ollie, trying to stay ahead of him even, coming through Nelson. Ollie looking to the outside, Aussie parking his car in the right places here. Ollie almost pushing him along here as they come through the bomb hole. Right up his chuff here as they're coming into the final corner. But Ollie has to tuck in for the time being. Doesn't really get a good enough run coming out of the final corner, and for the time being Ollie Moss holding station here in 4th place. There's Mike, your race leader. He's got nearly 5 seconds of a gap right now over Captain Harlock. Aussie still ahead of Ollie at the moment, with Mutts Nuts there running in P5. These guys are a little way clear of Jay running in P6. Got a P2 in the first race, but he's currently ahead of John Boy on the track at the moment, so not in a bad position. If he can try and chase down this battle for the podiums, then Jay could potentially be in a... Well, he might... Well, I don't know if he can get a podium in this one. It'd be close to the championship lead, but I think that Mike, as it stands, will be the championship leader. With a 3rd and a 1st, as things stand, I think that will be the championship lead for him going into the final race of the night. But it's all to play for still. Very early days. Obviously, this is round 1 of an 8-round season. It's a 24-race season, with it being 3 races per round. As we can see in the background there, John Boy very wide coming out of Nelson. Got it horribly wrong, and that's going to lost him more time to Jay. Jay, in the meantime, is reeling in Aussie, Ollie and the Mutts Nuts. So I'm sure that Jay's target in this race has got to be a podium, you would think. Running in 5 seconds behind these guys with 12 laps left in the race. So podium's certainly on the cards here for Jay. But he'd have to negotiate these guys, as you've got Aussie still just ahead of Ollie coming into turn 1. Mutts Nuts has just dropped off at the back of these guys a little bit over the course of this lap so far. Well, over the course of the last lap. Aussie wide there coming out of turn 1, but gets it back on the track before the braking zone, which is crucial. In the meantime, we've got Revolt Detail and Team MW battling out over 9th place. He's still been quite close for a few laps there. You can see Revolt Detail going a little bit wide there coming through turn 2. But still getting it nicely turned out of the S's, and down the Bentley straight we go. Team MW, though, I tell you what, got a much better exit. And he's looking to the inside here, coming down the Bentley straight. Oh, Revolt Detail almost moving across there. But here goes Team MW. Down the inside we go in towards Brundle. And Team MW moves himself through up into 9th place there. Routine stuff from him. Revolt Detail are in no position to fight that one too hard. Back to this battle for the podium places. Ozzy and Ollie still running quite close. Just over a second ahead of the Nuts there, running in P5. But none of you currently watching the stream, guys, if you are enjoying what you're seeing right now, please do hit the like button, show your appreciation to these drivers because they're putting on a great show here tonight at Snetterton. Ollie's still trying to put this pressure here on Ozzy Albi. Ozzy Albi a bit wide there coming out of Nelson. Ollie will be getting closer and closer here through the bomb hole. So we're almost half distance here through this second race of the night, half distance through the whole evening altogether. Ollie's still trying to apply this pressure here on Ozzy Albi as they're coming into the final corner. Ozzy's got that better line there. Gets a little bit sideways there coming through the final corner. Ollie didn't get the best run. Still got a decent Todo coming down the start-finish straight. And I'll tell you what, Ollie's picking up a good slipstream here. He's going to now look to the outside because Ozzy's going to defend that inside line. Into the braking zone we go. Ollie's going to try and go around the outside here, but Ozzy's just got that inside line covered off beautifully there. Tagging the grass a little bit on the inside of turn one. Ollie a little bit too far back to send one into the hairpin. Ozzy a bit of a lock-up, goes a little bit wide. Is that going to set him up badly for the S's? You can see Ollie getting a good run here. And I think Ollie's going to get him here down the Bentley straight. He's going to put out the slipstream now. Here we go. Ollie Marr looking to the inside, coming down towards Brundle. And he's going to take that podium place back off of Ozzy Albi here. The Nuts in the background starting to reel these guys in ever so slightly here. But Ollie Marr moving himself through back up into third place here in this race. John Boy there running a long way back. You've got Jay who's reeling these guys in a little bit at this point. He's now 4 seconds behind, but not really gaining massively on these guys. But I was saying before, Jay's target's got to be a podium here in this one, especially with John Boy struggling, obviously having some early woes here in this second race. Obviously the race one winner, our three-time champion and reigning champion, but he's not had the race in this second race of the night so far. Ozzy here looking back to the outside of Ollie coming through turn one, and he's made the move brilliantly there around the outside, and he gets it done there. It makes it stick beautifully there. There's Ozzy Albi up into P3 as we can see Ollie having to keep the Nuts, having to keep his wits about him because the Nuts is all over the back of him here. Can Ollie get a good exit here? We know what straight line speed he's got. Can he get a good run here coming out onto the Bentley straight? I think he's got a decent run. He's not as close as he was on the previous lap, but he's still going to get a run, and he's going to surely look to the inside into Brundle again. There's plenty of space there on the inside, but Ozzy's just ahead. I think Ollie's just going to get it done here coming into the braking zone. Side by side here they go. Ozzy's got the inside for Nelson. Ollie a little bit wide, and Ollie got onto the grass, and that's going to give the Nuts P4. And Ollie losing out of place there, was trying to gain a place, ended up losing one down to P5. And the Nuts now on the back of Ozzy Albi here. 10 of you currently watching the stream, smash the like button, guys. Show your appreciation for this battle right now. Ozzy, the Nuts, and Ollie Ollie Marr having a great little fight here for the podium places. Mike's still leading the race by just under 5 seconds. His gap to Captain Harlock staying consistent. It's not really going up and it's not really going down. It's staying the same here between those two. So here we go, Ollie's got a bit of a run here on the Nuts as they're coming down towards the end of the Bentley straight. Is he going to look to try and send one here into Brundle? He's going to have a look up the inside. Oh, he gets a bit of a tap there, and the Nuts is losing it into Brundle we go. Nuts is not going to be happy with that. He's not going to be happy at all with that. He's lost out here to Jay, and Nuts there down to P6. Did Ollie give him a bit of a tap there, or did Nuts help himself round? Not sure. But the Nuts is now between Jay and John Boy, riding in P6 in this race. In the meantime, Mike's still leading by just over 5 seconds now, as 3/10 quicker than Captain Harlock and continue to pull out his gap here at the front. Jay still on the back of Ollie as these two battling out over 4th place here. Coming into the bomb hole. Got 5 minutes left to go, so there's not much time left in this race for Jay to reel in Aussie if he can get ahead of Ollie. But Ollie's going to definitely provide a stiff test for Jay here as he gets a bit wrong coming out of the last corner. Jay with a bit of a slipstream here as they're coming over the line to start that 14, but he's a little bit too far back, I think, coming into turn 1. He might have a look here, he might try and put Ollie under some pressure. No, doesn't think to do that. He's just waiting patiently here as Jay coming down towards turn 2. Ollie just about far enough ahead there coming into turn 2. If Jay can get a good run here coming down the Bentley straight, he might have a chance, but Ollie's got such straight line speed. We've seen it before so many times over the course of tonight. And he's pulling away from Jay despite Jay being in the slipstreams. That just goes to show how much of a low downforce setup Ollie's got on the car. He's pulling away despite the driver behind him being in the slipstream. John Boy's closing up onto the back of the Mutts Nuts as well here in this battle for P6. Oh, Mutts very wide there coming out of Nelson. That's going to give John Boy the position there. Moves himself through up into P6. Thank you very much, says John Boy. I tell you what, the Mutts Nuts isn't done though. He's keeping it around the outside through the bomb hole and actually managing to get more momentum there coming through the penultimate corner. And into Murray's we go. The Mutts Nuts is going to cover that one off. Goes a little bit wide though coming on the exit of the final corner. John Boy might have a run here coming down the start finish straight. Surely John Boy's going to pick him off here. You can see there he's going to move himself through, and John Boy up into P6 here in this race. Ollie stood ahead of Jay in this battle for 4th, but John Boy there up into P6 here. Beautifully done there from him as Nick moves through ahead of Revolt Dieter up into P10. So Revolt Dieter then making a mistake coming out of the final corner, which has lost him a place there. Ollie here still defending from Jay coming down the Bentley straight. Ollie with that straight line speed advantage really paying dividends as he goes a little bit deep in the first part of Brundle through Nelson. He gets it stopped and gets it turned in nicely. Jay a bit wide onto the curb, living dangerously there for sure. John Boy getting it a bit wrong on the exit of Nelson. Has got Mutts now right on the back of him again here. Through into the bomb hole we go. Mutts Nuts has got a little bit of his car alongside John Boy. That will mean that John Boy's got to give him some space here. John Boy with a tight line into the final corner, and Mutts is going to go for the cutback here and gets it done there on the exit of the corner. Beautifully done from the Mutts Nuts there, and gets John Boy in the same place that John Boy did him on the previous lap. Ollie's got a bit of a run here on Jay coming down the start finish straight into towards turn 1 we go, but Jay staying ahead of Ollie for the time being in 4th place. Oh, Jay a little bit deep coming through Nelson. Ollie's going to look to the inside to the right hander, and Ollie's going to pick up the position there up into P4 again here. As these two keep trading positions, the Mutts Nuts still ahead of John Boy in this battle for P6. Is Jay going to try and get a cutback coming out of the final corner and get Ollie down the start finish straight? Mike in the meantime, his gap to Captain Harlock is now nearly 6 seconds as he starts his penultimate lap of the race. Ollie once again with a poor run there coming out of the final corner, and Jay seizes on that. Did not need a second invitation, and back in up into 4th place again here from Jay. These two can't make their mind up who's going to come P4 in this race too. Mutt's still ahead of John Boy as they're coming into turn 1. Oh, Jay wide coming out of turn 1 there. Oh, he gets it sideways. Ollie moves through up into 4th. Jay just gets it back on the road before the braking zone. Otherwise he could have maybe ended up losing out to the Mutts Nuts and John Boy. John Boy's going to go for a cutback here coming out of turn 1. Can he get a good run coming down the Bentley straight? I think that the Mutts has got just about enough legs here to keep ahead of him. Ollie's a lot further ahead of Jay this time than he has been on previous laps coming in towards Brundle. John Boy way too far back on the Mutts Nuts to even think about a move here. But Ollie's still just ahead of Jay here as we're coming through the final sector of the lap. Ollie here getting a much better run than Jay getting a much better run than Ollie out of the last corner and moves back through up to 4th place. So Jay here once again getting some good points. P4 after a P2 in the first race. That'll be some very, very strong points. He'll be second in the championship, I think, behind Mike after this second race of the night. John Boy, I think, will be third in the standings if things were to finish right now. But if he can get ahead of the Mutts Nuts and Ollie, then he might still be in second ahead of Jay. But as it stands, I think Jay will jump John Boy in the points. Ollie, though, looking on the back of Jay here, coming down the Bentley straight, and these two have been swapping positions since the beginning of this race. And Ollie once again looking to try and do the same thing he's done on previous laps. Jay losing the space on the inside. Into Brundle we go. Does Ollie get it stopped in time? He does. Jaydo's going to go for a cutback here out of Nelson. Ollie there parking on the inside, and Jay there couldn't get the cutback because Ollie was right there, and Ollie getting it over the curb. Mutts Nuts mugs Jay up into P5. Jay might lose out to John Boy here, but he's just ahead of him at the moment. As Jay now looking around the outside of the Mutts Nuts here. In the meantime, Mike Gaming's taken the win here at Snetterton for the second race of the night. Captain Harlock comes over to take second place. Ozzy will take third. Ollie here is going to come out of the last corner to, I think, just hold on here ahead of the Mutts Nuts. And John Boy's got ahead of Jay here coming out of the last corner. So it's going to be Ollie taking fourth. The Mutts Nuts and John Boy. It's a drag to the line. Oh, John Boy just gets there. So John Boy takes P5 ahead of the Mutts Nuts. Jay over in 7th place just behind them. Craig is going to take home 8th place here ahead of Team MW. But what a battle that was. John Boy just getting the Mutts Nuts there for P5. Craig there takes 8th ahead of Team MW in 9th. Nick the Villa comes over to take 10th place here ahead of Revolt Detailer, who will finish this one in 11th place. Thoris Steer coming into the bomb hole a long way behind, but Revolt Detailer there in 11th place. But what a battle that was. I tell you what, Ollie Marr got a much better run out of the last corner and left them for dead, but the Mutts Nuts there getting absolutely mugged by John Boy on the line. What a finish to the race there, says GGJ. Absolutely, mate. We've got Mutts Nuts, who will be gutted, I'm sure, to have lost 6th place, but he managed to get ahead of Jay there, so he gained a position, lost a position at the end there. Revolt Detail has finished the race in P11. Thorister over in 12th place. And it was RJ Dale and Charlie Goff who completed the classification. So that is that then, ladies and gentlemen, for the second race of the night. Stay tuned because we won't be long. We'll have the final race of the evening up in a few minutes. So stick with us. We'll have the practice on, followed by the race itself. So yeah, don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned because we won't be long. We'll have
Alright guys, grid order is going to be this. So it's going to be P1 Charlie, P2 RJ, P3 Thoris, P4 Leo, P5 Nick, P6 Team, P7 Craig, P8 Jay, P9 Mutts, P10 John Boy, P11 Ollie, P12 Ozzy, P13 Captain, and P14 Mike. Yes, yeah. Oh, shh. No, yeah. That's what I said. Yeah, I said you're behind Mutts. Yeah, you're P10, John Boy. No, because you finished behind. You finished ahead of him. No, you didn't. You mugged him on the line. You got ahead of him. Nah, you look like you got him. One sec. Let me have a look. Because it was showing up on the actual post-race, on the post-race leaderboard, it was showing that you had done him. I'm just reviewing the finish now. Oh shit, yeah, as you cross the line, Mutts' front bumper's just ahead. Fucking hell. It was tight. It was really tight. Okay, yeah, swap round then. Yeah, swap round, because Mutts will be getting P... Yeah, Mutts will be getting P... Alright, yeah, so Mutts will be getting P5 then. Yeah. So you're P9, John Boy, and Mutts is P10. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, you'll be getting points for P6. So yeah, it's only fair that you start P9. All right. Well, no, because you would because the points would have been correct. So yeah, I would have done the points based on the leaderboard at the end anyway. Right then, let's go, boys. Have a good one. Oh shit, it's qualifying. Fuck. 1 sec. Yeah. Five Fs. Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the final race of the night here at Motive for the Touring Car Championship Season 14. Obviously this is round 1 of the season, race 3 of the night, race 3 of a 24 round season. We've got the reverse grid based on the results from race 2, which we had a few minutes ago. It's going to be Charlie Goff leading us around for the start of this race, a man who we know usually goes well when he starts on pole. Is it going to be a similar scenario here with a lot of the faster guys down the back of the pack and are going to have to really fight to get their way to the front in this one? Here we come then through the bomb hole. Charlie Goff surely going to, I reckon he's going to probably go for it here out of the last corner straight away as soon as he possibly can. Yep, he is gone already. So Charlie Goff not hanging around for anybody. As RJ Dale here sleeping a little bit. You've got Doris Deer, who's got Revolt Detailer all over him as we're coming over the line here to start the race. As the Revolt Detailer looking to the inside here on Doris Deer coming in towards turn 1. Is he going to make a move here? No, too far back just at the moment. But as they all file through turn 1, clean start from everybody right now. 5 seconds currently covering the whole pack, and Charlie Goff with a decisive lead right now. As we've got Nick Lavilla looking down the inside there at Doris Deer into turn 2. He's made the move there beautifully there as Nick Lavilla, and he's also got ahead of RJ Dale as well. So Nick Lavilla gaining 2 places there at the start. Now on the back of Revolt Detailer as well. RJ Dale's lost out to Revolt Detailer and Nick. Has got Doris Deer and Craig on the back of him. You've got Team MW there in 7th. John Boy's already up into 8th, and he's ahead of Jay as well. Although he was already he started behind Jay, so he's got ahead of Jay as well. Yeah, so Jay looking back to the inside into Brundle as Jay. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. I think that was RJ Dale. RJ Dale went into the back of somebody and it's down to the back of the pack here. So he's had a bit of a nightmare there. Jay's up into P5, so he's got back ahead of John Boy here. So Jay's done really well in the opening lap of this race. John Boy ahead of the Mutts Nuts. They've both got ahead of Team MW. The Mutts Nuts there in the mid pack ahead of Team MW Aussie. Ollie there running in P10 right now with Captain Harlock and Mike at the back there with Doris Deer and RJ behind them. So Ollie, Captain and Mike not making the most seamless of progress here at the start of this race, but it's Charlie Goff out the front. It's got just over a second of a gap here over Revolt Detailer right now. There's Nick ahead of Craig, ahead of Jay, John Boy. There's the Mutts Nuts TMW. Aussie Albie ahead of Ollie Marr, followed by Captain Harlock, Mike, and there's Doris Deer and RJ Dale out the back there running in P14 in this race as Nick Lavilla really attacking on the back of Revolt Detailer here as they come through the S's. You can see there he's getting closer and closer. Is he going to have a run coming down the Bentley straight? He's looking to try and pick up a bit of a toe here if he possibly can. I think he's a little bit too far back to think about a move coming into Brundle. Looking at the rest of them though as they're coming down the Bentley straight. We've got side by side here between Ollie and Captain. Ollie looking around the outside. I think he's going to have that done there coming into Brundle. So yeah, Ollie Marr getting that position in the foreground there. Saw one of the, I think that was John Boy there getting a bit loose. But Ollie there moving through ahead of Captain up into 9th place. Saw John Boy getting it wrong on the exit of Nelson. He's just ahead of the Mutts Nuts. Jay here attacking on the back of Craig and knocking on the door of 2nd place already. It's currently a big train of cars here battling over 2nd. 6 of them all together as Revolt Detailer wide out the last corner here, and that's going to give Nick Lavilla P2. And I think that Craig's going to follow him through as well here down the start finish straight. So Revolt Detailer is going to lose out to both Nick and Craig. Craig looking to the outside as we're going to be almost 3 wide here coming into turn 1. Craig now looking to the outside here of Nick Lavilla, and Nick Lavilla just giving Craig a bit of a tap there out wide, and Craig onto the grass, and he goes ever so wide there. In another postcode there is Craig. I think Nick might have also gone wide. He rejoins the track coming into the braking zone, which is a precarious position to be in as Revolt Detailer moves through into 2nd. The Mutts Nuts into 3rd place, so Nick losing out a couple of places there, and Jay there trying to squeeze through as well, and Nick's trying to squeeze Jay to the edge of the track. Oh, and Nick didn't see him there. He didn't know Jay was on the outside and just pushed him, and then Nick realised that he was there last minute and gave him the space. John Boy trying to get a bit of a run here, but nowhere to go, and Jay will hold on to the position as a result. Can Jay get around Nick Lavilla here coming into Nelson? Oh, and there's contact there between Nick and Jay, and they're into the wall, and I think that they're both going to have damage there on their cars. And have they got it out of the wall yet? You can see there that Doris Deer's moving through up into 11th place. Jay there gets it going just in front of his teammate Doris. But Jay and Nick coming together. Jay down to P10, Nick into 12. And it's gone horribly wrong there for those two. As John Boy up into 4th place on the fringe of the podium place is already here. But Charlie Goff out the front by 2 seconds. But the thing is that John Boy is only 2.5 seconds behind him. So Charlie didn't get the break that I think he would have wanted. He definitely pulled out the gap, but John Boy running in P4 is going to be a huge threat to Charlie in his pursuit of a win here in the final race of the night, as Captain Hart looking around the outside here of Aussie Albie here coming down towards turn 2. He's got it done there. Aussie Albie's now got to watch out because he has now got Captain Harlock also looking on him. Sorry, Mike even, he's been passed by Captain Harlock. It would be Captain Harlock again as We got Mike there, very wide onto the grass. So that's going to give Ollie the position. Ollie moves through up into 7th place. Now Ollie's going to make the move here on Aussie as well, coming down towards Brundle. Should have this one done routinely there down the inside. So Ollie moves through up into 6th place there. Aussie losing out, but Mike losing out a couple of places down to going onto the grass. Coming out the S's. Oh, and that's the contact there between Aussie and Mike. Aussie and Ollie, should I say. Ollie there wide. Aussie squeezes through up into P6. Ollie's not going to be too happy with that one, I'm sure. He stays ahead of Mike for the time being. You've got Craig there as well on the back of these guys. Bit of a gap back to Jay, who had that collision with Nick, obviously, a couple of laps ago. Ollie, Captain there gets onto the sausage curb, and that gives John Boy the position up into P4. In the background there, Ollie wide onto the grass, coming out of the final corner, just about keeps it out of the pit wall. Oh, he needs to be careful because he's got traffic here. Well, not traffic, but you know what I mean. He's got drivers coming up on him here. Mike here moves through up into 7th place, but we know what Ollie's straight line speed is like, and despite being on the grass coming out of the last corner, he still has the top end speed to get back ahead of Mike into turn 1. Unbelievable. Mike a bit wide onto the grass. They're going to be side by side here down towards turn 2. Ollie has the inside covered off and has that position held onto. He goes a little bit deep, and he get a poor run here coming out of the S's, but we know what his straight line speed is like, so despite the run that Mike's going to get, Ollie should be able to just breeze away from here down a Bentley straight. Craig has got a run here on Mike and should be able to get ahead of him coming into Brundle, although Mike here picking up a bit of steam here, getting a bit of slipstream here off of Ollie, so it's going to make it a bit difficult here for Craig to make a move into Brundle when he tucks in for the time being behind Mike. In the meantime, Charlie Goff's lead to the Mutts Nuts is coming down. The Mutts Nuts and Revolt Detail are still batting out over 2nd and 3rd places. John Boy must have made a mistake here on this lap because he's now 3 seconds off the lead. It was 2.5, so he's had a bit of a patchy lap so far this time around. He's got pressure from Captain Harlock as the Mutts Nuts goes wide there onto the grass. As he had a bit of contact there, I think, with Revolt Detailer. He rejoins onto the track there very exuberantly. Oh, careful! He goes into Revolt Detailer. He hits him in a straight line. What is going on there, boys? Come on, that's ridiculous. Revolt Detailer there with damage. Nick Levilla's left the session. Obviously, we saw he had damage and we saw he was well off for the leaders there with his collision with Jay a few laps ago. Revolt Detailer with damage. The Mutts Nuts pretty much got away with that one scot-free, albeit with a bit of damage there on the front of his car as Captain Harlock trying to make the move down the inside of the Mutts Nuts into turn 2. And Captain Harlock moves through as Mutts Nuts there getting a bit aggressive, getting his elbows out, gets almost spun round there by Captain Harlock and loses out to him there. Aussie Albie's closing up onto the back of the Mutts Nuts as well here. But John Boy up into 2nd place and within 2 seconds of the race lead now. So could John Boy be in for taking 2 wins from 3 races here? Didn't have a great second race of the night, but he's making up for it in this 3rd race. Already on the fringes of the leader, Charlie Goff, who's obviously got away at the start, being on pole position for this final race of the night with the reverse grid. But John Boy's made extremely strong progress here in this one. Aussie still on the back of the Mutts Nuts as they're coming out of turn 1. You can see in the foreground there, Captain still attacking on the back of John Boy as they're going through turn 2. Ollie's got Mike and Revolt Detail still right with him. Craig as well. Oh, as Mike gives Ollie a bit of a tap in the rear coming out of the S's. But they're holding station at the moment. Charlie's gap to John Boy just under a second. Captain's still there on the fringe of these guys. Oh, he's got Mike looking to try and get underneath him here, coming through the bomb hole. Mike looking on the back of Ollie coming through, but can't get ahead of him at the moment. Coming into the final corner, you can see Ollie just needs to get a good run. We know what sort of straight line speed he's got. He should be able to leave Mike coming down the start-finish straight. Back to Charlie, John Boy and Captain Harlock as they're coming into turn 1 here to start lap 9. The Mutts Nuts and Aussie still battling over 4th and 5th here. These guys are 4 seconds off for the lead, but 3 are battle for the lead is the one that I think we've got to be watching here, as we're just going to see if Aussie can get ahead of the Mutts Nuts into turn 2. He can't for the time being. As we go back to the leaders here, Charlie, John Boy and Captain. Charlie's led this race since the beginning, obviously starting on pole position due to the reverse grid. But John Boy getting closer and closer to the back of him, and he's going to try and make a move into Brundle. I'm sure about that. John Boy down the inside. Does he go deep? You know, he gets it turned in nicely here. And John Boy moves himself through up into the lead. So John Boy takes the lead and potentially on his way to taking a second win from 3 races here tonight. Charlie's now got pressure here from Captain Harlock as they're coming through the bomb hole. Can Captain now knock Charlie while he's down and drop him down to 3rd place here in this race? Charlie's led the race since the beginning, but it is now John Boy who has the ascendancy here in this one. Mutsnut's still running in 4th place. He's got Aussie on the back of him here. These guys are a couple of seconds clear of Mike and Ollie, who are battling over P6 and 7. Revolt Detail there running in 8th place. Has got Craig and Jay on the back of him, as Jay's got a much better run than Craig out of the last corner. Craig got a bit of a poor run coming out of Murray's onto the grass. Jay's now going to make the move here on Revolt Detailer as well. So Jay making 2 position gains there down the start finish straight, as Craig's now looking on the back of Revolt Detailer, and down the inside goes Craig into turn 1. Revolt Detailer with his front bumper hanging off. And Craig there moves through up into 9th place. Revolt Detailer there was weaving around a little bit, swerving to the inside there as they came down towards turn 2. Not sure what he's trying to do there, as Team MW in the background watching this unfold in front of him. But Jay here trying to pull away from these guys behind him. John Boy's got just over a second of a gap here right now over Captain Harlock. Charlie seems to have dropped off of them. Can Captain put this pressure here on John Boy and bring this fight to him in the second half of this final race of the night? What a night of racing it's been here at Snetterton for the Touring Car Championship. The season opener here for season 14.
What time do you work tomorrow?
7 until 2. We got Aussie Albie right on the back of the Mutsnuts here, coming over the line here to start lap 11. As you can see here that Aussie's pulling to the outside. Can he get it all the way around the outside of the Mutsnuts here? Mutsnuts on the inside has that preferred line. Aussie can't get it around him for the time being. Is he going to have a chance coming down towards turn 2? Mutsnuts, I think he's going to have that one covered off for now. Bonnie Mike just looking to try and wait for his opportunities here. Oh, and the Mutsnuts loses it there onto the grass, coming out of the S's, and he's pulling over. So I think he's about to rage quit by the looks of it. Yeah.
Want that turned off.
So Aussie and Mike side by side, and Mike can't get ahead of Aussie here. So Aussie still holding firm here. Mike doing a good job of putting the pressure on. Ollie here still right on the back of these guys as they're coming out of Nelson through into the final section of the lap they come. As Mike is almost pushing the back of Aussie Albie here as they come through the bomb hole. It's got nowhere to go. It's just got to sit in and wait a moment. The bomb hole. I told you this the other night, Nana. It was there's a crater there from a bomb that was dropped in World War II. Aussie here still with Mike on the back of him as they're coming down the start finish straight. Mike's got a bit of a toe, but not enough of a toe, I think, to make a move into turn 1. He pulls out to the outside, but he's not going to get that move done. Aussie's still holding on for P4 at the moment. Ollie here trying to attack on these guys, but Mike looking to the outside of Aussie into turn 2. I keep getting confused because Aussie was driving in Mike's livery last season, but Aussie now running in that yellow and black. Mike running in the mild 7 in Mochi, number 55 that Aussie was last season. Ollie here looking to the outside on Mike as they're coming down the Bentley straight, but he's not going to have a chance, I don't think, to make that move
before you go to bed.
Coming into Brundle and Nelson.
Alright.
John Boy still with Captain Harlock on the back of him here. 0.2 of a second between these two coming through the bomb hole. Coming into Murray's here. We're about to start lap 13 of the race. 7 laps left to go here in the final race of the night. And Captain Harlock here has been just gaining little bits on John Boy. 4/10 on the previous lap. I think he's gained a few more tenths this time around. See how much he's gained this time. Another 2/10 this time around for Captain Harlock. So he's now right on the back of John Boy and looking to try and make this move on him if he can. Charlie there running in P3 in the final podium place. He's got 3 seconds back to Aussie, Mike and Ollie. So Charlie looking good for a podium as long as he can keep it together here for the final 7 laps of the race. As Mike's still attacking on the back of Aussie Albie coming into turn 2. As Captain here getting some more closing speed on the back of John Boy, looking to the inside towards Brundle, but John Boy's just going to cover him off for now. Through Nelson we go. These guys keeping it tidy. Captain getting a much better run out of Nelson, and he's going to look to the inside here. John Boy's got to give him the space because Captain is there alongside him. It's clear to see, but John Boy managing to get more momentum there around that part of around that corner, and still holding firm ahead of Captain Harlock by the skin of his teeth here. Out of the final corner they come. Captain getting a better exit, but the gap reasonable enough that I think John Boy should be safe coming into turn 1 at the end of the start-finish straight. In the meantime, Mike here is right on the back of Aussie Albie as they're coming down the start-finish straight. He might have a chance here, but Aussie's got good straight line speed, which is helping him massively here. And Mike is going to have to tuck in because he's not close enough coming into turn 1. Ollie's still right on the back of these guys as well. Back to the leaders, John Boy and Captain coming through the S's. Oh, and John Boy's made a mistake, and Captain Harlock could be about to take the lead here. He gets a much better exit, and down the Bentley straight we go. Captain Harlock takes the lead of the race here in the final race of the night. So John Boy there with a rare mistake in these touring cars. Captain Harlock for the first time in this race leads the race. And this is game on here in this fight for the win. So Captain Harlock making the most of John Boy's little mistake there, going straight on over the grass, coming out of the S's. John Boy's now going to have to pile the pressure on here in the final 5 laps of this race. Captain Harlock with the initiative here. Ollie's still just ahead of Mike as these guys are coming through the bomb hole. They're just ahead of Aussie Albie running in 6th place. Can Mike get a good run out of the final corner this time and put Ollie under some pressure? Ollie getting a decent enough run coming out of the last corner. He should be able to hold on here with that straight line speed that he's got that we already know about. John Boy looking very close on the back of Mike on the exit of turn 1. They're side by side. And he's got ahead of him here is John Boy. So John Boy's up into the lead. Mike looking to the outside here into turn 2. John Boy has to go defensive. That might compromise his run a little bit coming out of the S's down the Bentley straight. As John Boy has got Mike right in his slipstream coming down the Bentley straight. He's going to have to defend the inside. John Boy flashing his lights here at one of the back markers. That seems to be Thoris Deer, who's just up ahead of these guys. And Thoris moving well out of the way for the leaders. Captain Harlock with a bit of run here coming down towards Brundle, but he's going to get there just a little bit too late as they come in towards Nelson. John Boy just ahead of Captain Harlock here. In the background, Thoris Steer getting it all wrong on the exit of Nelson. John Boy and Captain Harlock start lap 16, 4 laps left to go. John Boy 4 tenths quicker, obviously taking the lead of the race off of Captain Harlock that previous time around. Charlie Goff still running in 3rd place, but he's got Ollie and Mike hunting him down. Aussie's coming with them as well, so Charlie Goff currently holding on for a podium place as things stand. But for how much longer is he going to be able to stay in that position? The thing that might benefit him is that Ollie's got pressure from Mike, which might be slowing him down. But all of these guys are reeling in Charlie Goff at the moment. The thing about Mike though, he's struggling to get ahead of Ollie because Ollie's got so much straight line speed. He just has to make sure he gets good runs through the corners here, and Ollie should be able to hold on to P4 with that straight line speed that he's got in the bag. In the meantime, John Boy and Captain still your 2 leaders right now coming through into the bomb hole once again. We've got just over 3 laps left to go here for the final race of the night here for the Touring Car Championship at Motive, opening round of the season. John Boy took the first win of the night. We saw Mike taking the 2nd win. Can Captain deny John Boy from taking 2 wins from 3 races here in the opening round of the season? As we start lap 17, 3 laps left to go here at Snetterton. Mike is almost underneath the bumper here of Ollie, but Ollie again, we're seeing that straight line speed really paying dividends here. Team MW is on the back of Clegg as well here in this battle for 8th place. We've barely looked at these guys with the battle going on for the lead and also for 4th place. But this is the battle that's continuing on. But we are going to stick with these two for the time being, Ollie and Mike, and keeping half an eye on the lead battle as well, because John Boy seems to have extended the gap a little bit over the course of this lap here. 7 tenths now the gap between John Boy and Captain, the 2 leaders. This is the battle here for 4th place though between Ollie and Mike, as they put a lap there on Doris Steer, who's getting well out of the way for both of them. Into Brundle and Nelson we come. Ollie a little bit further ahead of Captain than he has been on previous laps this time around. But I tell you what, they are closing on the back of Charlie Goff here. Charlie's picked up the pace, doing his personal best through the middle sector, but it's not enough to pull out the gap to Ollie and Mike, who are continuing to reel him in at a rate of knots here. 2 laps left to go. Charlie's just got 2 laps to try and hang on to his podium place. Ollie and Mike still fighting it out here as we're coming out of the last corner out onto the start finish straight here. About to start the penultimate lap of this final race of the night. And Mike's still nowhere near close enough to make a move on Ollie. As we go back to the leaders here, John Boy and Captain still fighting it out here as we're coming out of the S's. But Captain Harlock needs to be doing a dress rehearsal. He needs to be finding somewhere that John Boy is not as strong and trying to get a run, trying to get a good exit. Needs to try and get a cutback or something if he is to take this win off of John Boy and deny him of taking 2 wins from 3 here tonight. Obviously taking the first win of the night did John Boy. Had a bit of a mare in the second race, ended up P5 or P6 he was because he didn't get the nuts in the end, even though the timing board said he had got the P5 at the end. The leaderboard that came on right at the end said otherwise. But John Boy here currently just ahead of Captain Harlock as we're coming out of the last corner here, and we are about to start the final lap of the race. Captain here closing on the back of John Boy. John Boy defends the inside line coming down towards the turn 1 again, but Captain's too far back anyway. He's not going to be able to make the move. Can he set himself up nicely out of turn 1 to make a move into the hairpin? No, John Boy's got a good enough exit there, and it's going to cover that one easily coming into turn 2. As Mike here has got the move done on Ollie, but Ollie's looking back to the outside into turn 1. So where did Mike make that move? I'm not sure, but he's moved himself through into the podium places, and they're both ahead of Charlie. So Charlie must have dropped it somewhere because he's now lost out to Aussie as well. So Charlie Goff losing 3 places there on that last lap, but Mike there gaining 2 places up into 3rd place, and Ollie getting it all wrong there onto the grass, but managing to get a decent enough exit out of the S's there to keep ahead of Aussie Albie for the time being. John Boy and Captain coming to the final few corners. John Boy just needs to navigate his way through the bomb hole and Murray's, and he should be able to take the win here in the final race of the night and make it 2 from 3 for the opening round of season 14 here. Our 3-time champion and reigning champion here has just got to negotiate Murray's. Captain closing in. Oh, John Boy a bit of a slide there coming out of the last corner, but it's not going to come to any avail for Captain Harlock. John Boy's got enough of a gap here up towards the line. It's going to be John Boy taking the final win of the night. A flash of lights from him, and Captain Harlock returning the gesture there. A good battle there from those guys. John Boy, your race winner here for race 3. Captain Harlock takes 2nd place. Mike is going to come over to take 3rd place after getting ahead of Ollie and Charlie Goff at the end. Mike takes 3rd ahead of Ollie. Aussie Albie getting ahead of Charlie. Charlie losing 3 places there on the penultimate lap. What a shame there after looking to be on course for a podium. Jay is going to come over to take 7th place in the end, just behind his teammate Doris Deer, who is a lap down in P12. What a race that was. What a night it's been here at Snetterton. Craig coming out of the last corner. It's going to be an 8th place finish here for him. In the end, pulled out a bit of a gap. I think Team MW must have been a mistake because the gap between those two, quite something here. But Craig over in 8th place. Team MW will come over to take 9th place here in the end. And he's a little way clear of RJ Dale, who is just coming out of the last corner and up towards the line. It's going to be P10 here for RJ Dale. And Doris Deer already finished the race there in P10. So that is that then for the final race. That is that for the opening round of the touring cars here tonight at Motive. John Boy taking the victory ahead of Captain Harlock, and Mike taking the podium place there. But what a night that was. We see Captain Harlock there took the fastest lap point, or 2 points for fastest lap it is. But John Boy, I think the championship leader, going to be the driver of the day for tonight. I think John Boy, 2 firsts and a 5th. Solid job, superb performance here from our reigning champion. I think he'll be the championship leader going into round 2 next week. So yeah, great start to his title defence there. John Boy, Captain Ollie Mike. Congratulations to John Boy and obviously Mike as well for taking the win in race 2. But we're going to wrap it up here, guys. Thanks for joining us here tonight on the channel. Thanks to all the drivers for watching this back afterwards. If you did enjoy, please do hit the like button and share this with your friends, family members and otherwise associates who might be interested in checking this out. We're going to get off. Thanks everybody once again. We'll see you very soon. Join us for next on Project Cars 2 next week for the Clio Cup on Monday night. On a Tuesday night it is now for the Clio Cup. We'll also be live tomorrow night on F1 22 for the F1 League at 6:40 PM UK time. and we'll be live on ACC as well on Sunday night for the GT3 Championship. But from all of us here at Motive, it's a big thank you, and we'll see you soon. Good night.